The government ended up really destroying houses. The government just comes and says, you know what, this is our land. So imagine you've invested so much in property, in land, and it's just destroyed.
Everything can take away from you except
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
We see a near future where Bitcoiners have to be worried about their safety. If you work in the fiat system, you should be looking for a way out.
Why not use Bitcoin? Why not use Lightning? Why not use all the amazing systems that someone just put out and it is there? It will not go away. All the banking system, they are clinking on their power and they want to stay in power and they want to have those fiat rails. What is your price prediction for 2024?
Oh, I'll go with the highest, $1 million. I've not done a recording in a while.
Yeah, I saw your videos. They're really good. I like them.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're
Yes,
from Kenya, right?
yes, I am from Kenya, at the coast of Kenya.
Oh, very cool. I never visited Africa, so I
You
have no
should.
clue
Yeah.
how the Bitcoin adoption is there. Like,
It's growing. It's really growing. We were left far off behind, I guess, after the scams came, but right now it's really, really growing. It serves us quite well. Yeah.
very cool.
Mhm.
So then I would just say we start right into it, right?
Okay. Yeah. Where are you from yourself?
Austria.
Austria. Wow.
Yes,
Also never.
that's why I was like, I hear a German word. It's like what?
Ah, I wish I understood German, but there are lots of Germans in Kenya, at the
Oh,
coast of
interesting.
Kenya. Yeah, at the coast of Kenya, around the Diani areas, the coastal beaches. There's very many Germans there that live there.
Oh, and why do you want to learn German? Like, why do you want to know it?
German is quite difficult. I tried understanding it. You can't relate it to English words
Yeah,
and like
yeah. It's
French.
I have a girlfriend that is not speaking German,
Yes.
so I speak mostly English with her.
Wow.
Even though my native language is German, but she's learning German every day,
Yeah.
and through her I understand now how hard it is to learn German. Like
Wow.
it's not an
Yeah.
easy language. It's like der die das. There's like so many weird cases where English is just so much easier,
English is very.
and it's like you don't you have like you really have to want to learn it really hard. Like there has to be some love reason for it. There has to be like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to live in the country, maybe then that's it's
Yeah.
possible. But even if you live in Austria, you don't need German that much. Like you can do everything basically in English. So the
There's lots
incentive,
of English speakers.
yeah, and so when there are a lot of English speakers, the incentive to learn the local language is low. So some just don't do it. So that's something.
What's that time there? I was worried about the lighting because it's around 7 p.m. here.
Oh, you lighted very well.
Uh,
I had guests on that were completely dark, like
what?
that you could not even see it nicely. I can see you very good.
Okay, great.
So how did you get started with Bitcoin in your journey?
So I live at the coast of Kenya. Um, okay, first I heard about it in 2015 when I was a student, but I really didn't interact with it as most people usually do. You just hear about it and you ignore it. And with time, I I learned now about it later when there was, because I live at the coast, there's lots of tourism. There was a tourist who was traveling on crypto at the time. And yeah, they showed me how trading works. And I had a background in finance, so it was easy to like understand, wow, this Bitcoin actually solves most of the problems that we're undergoing in Africa, especially in terms of remittance. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey ever since, in all, if I can say.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see what Bitcoin can do for people, giving them hope and property
Yeah,
rights. And you said it so beautiful in one of the videos where you said like only a slave can work with no rights to the product of his own efforts. I even have had to write it down uh, to
thank
have
you.
the right sentence that you said in the video. How does this
Thank
connect? Like the property rights, what was the interesting thing for you regarding property rights, Bitcoin, and
you.
maybe also your experience in life? What teach you everything?
Okay. So, what I can say, maybe in terms of property rights, maybe if I can tell you. So, I in Kenya recently, something happened. Most people, when they decide to invest, they venture in real estate, and land is a favorite. Everybody goes to land because of the speculation. So most people buy land, expect it to increase in value, and then sell it. And the government ended up really destroying houses of people who had built houses for that stayed there for like a couple of years. Then the government just comes and says, you know what, this is our land. So imagine you've invested so much in property, in land, and it's just destroyed. So, and this is a very common occurrence. Businesses are usually taken. So, in Africa, in terms of property rights, I can tell you for sure, if you go against the government, most likely you will lose. And it will be taken away from you. That's even besides talking about how inflation is theft. Because I wanted to talk to look at like what people value as the best asset. So I wanted to relate it to something that people can understand. Land is very valuable property here, and yeah, I'm glad you even watched the video. I hope I'm trying to make the information relatable to people, because understanding of Bitcoin here in terms of inflation, especially when people don't even understand the financial system, it's a bit difficult. So I'm trying to piece out ways in which it can be relatable. So, in terms of my experience, when the financial crisis occurred in 2008, we ended up losing in terms of the family. The ripple effect really touched me in terms of family. And I think since then I understood, you know what, you can be able to get money and it can be taken away from you. Property also, it can be taken away from you. And I just ventured to understanding what are the ways to safeguard your property, especially over a long period of time. And yeah, unfortunately, it has to be against the bankers and governments.
Yeah, everything. That's a fact that not a lot of people seem to understand. Everything can take away from you except
Yeah,
Bitcoin. I
exactly.
mean, in hard cases, even Bitcoin can be taken away from you if they really go the torturing way
Yeah,
and torture the private keys out of you. But like
yeah,
leave that edge case out. Like the land is so easy to take away from you. It's just like
yeah,
when the judge says, "Oh, give the land here or give the land or we put you in prison," like you will give the land. If someone says, "Oh, give us the gold bar you have there in your hands," give it or you're in the prison. Like it's so easy. And with Bitcoin, it's the first property. They
yeah,
can put you in prison. Still, they can shoot you. They can do anything with you, but you
yeah,
can keep your keys in your head and you don't have to give it to someone. Even
yeah.
like even
Revolutionary.
I go to the extreme example where when someone approaches you and says like with the gun, give me your Bitcoin, they can still shoot you. Like Bitcoin is not protecting you from shooting.
Oh, are there cases where that has already happened? Wow.
I don't know.
I hope not. Because I read an article where they were talking about, will you see a near future where Bitcoiners have to be worried about their safety? So that's it's quite
Yeah,
something.
privacy is important. Where are you on the privacy side with like KYC and with like how do you buy your Bitcoin? How do you store it? What's your take on the privacy side of Bitcoin?
Okay. In terms of privacy, of course, I learned self custody from the very on go, where I keep my private keys. especially for long-term savings. But with the company I work with, it's a Lightning company called Machankura. That is our custodial Lightning wallet. So with that, we just I encourage people to, if you want to move around cash, especially with high fees, because there's not in Africa we're not moving too much high value in terms of Bitcoin. So for the small cash, it's preferable to just use Lightning, most definitely. Um, uh,
Yeah, I heard Martin Kura already. I had a guest on that mentioned it. It's like a service where you can also buy Bitcoin without internet connection, right? Is that
yeah,
the
not necessarily without internet connection, but we just integrated a service called Digits Africa. So you asked me why I buy my Bitcoin. That's definitely it for now. But I'm more of, I don't even own any more fiat. I earn in Bitcoin instead, working for the company. But yeah, we integrated a service where we understand there are people who would like to buy Bitcoin. So the service is called Digits Africa, and with it you can be able to just use mobile money to purchase Bitcoin. Necessarily, you don't really have to have internet connection because it's on a web platform. But if you want to buy it for someone who does not have internet connection, it's quite easy. You can just key in the details, and all they have to do is just put in their mobile money pin. And once you receive the details of the Azteco voucher, we are partnered with Azteco. You can be able to redeem it onto your Machankura wallet. So with that, even those who are not tech savvy, especially, can still be able to buy Bitcoin.
I just thought about it because it's all over the Twitter news now. The Bitcoin ETF. Probably when the podcast comes out, the Bitcoin spot ETF in America will be approved already. How do you
So
how
true.
I think, but like it could be also not. Let's see. Maybe it gets
Yeah.
approved while we're speaking.
Mhm.
Like, how do you see the Bitcoin spot ETF influencing Bitcoin, influencing the market, or you don't care at all about the Bitcoin ETF?
It will be, it would, I cannot say I do not care. Of course, it's a very notable event. First of all, because you don't understand the kind of demand that you'll be getting into Bitcoin. And because I'll just tell you, my interests are in Africa. And I don't want it to get to a point whereby lots of Africans cannot be able to. I would love for it to be approved sooner, maybe for the marketing, because I've seen there's a lot of marketing coming into it. But for the price increase, I feel I'll have now a lot of work convincing people to get into Bitcoin when the prices are quite high. So but still, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing the demand that gets into it, and yeah,
I think we have to switch to like a Satoshi default,
yes,
because I think in a lot of people's head, when the price of one Bitcoin is like 250,000 euros or
yeah.
dollars, it's like, wow, it's so expensive. I can never afford it. But they don't realize that there's like a small amount you can also buy. You can buy like just two Satoshis basically.
Oh, talking about that, that's quite interesting because in Uganda, the Uganda shilling already reached Satoshi parity. So a while back, you could be able to buy one sat for one Uganda shilling.
Oh, so like the parity of the Uganda currency already dropped to the one Satoshi mark.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think this will happen with every currency.
I
Honestly, with
am.
the euro, with the dollar, with all the currency, everything will drop to one Satoshi and below. Because do you think that fiat can survive? Like the fiat financial system, can they survive the next, let's say, 50 years?
I feel if you work in the fiat system, you should be looking for a way out. I want to say I'll see it surviving, but most of the systems that are in the bank, I feel they're outdated and they do not work for the benefit of most people that require the banking system. If I can put an example, especially with remittance, the remittance. sector in the banking system, I do not see it lasting long. I can't speak for the Western side, but in Africa, it has not really served us quite a lot. We receive a lot of remittance. Nigeria receives lots of remittance. Kenya, most of our of the money coming into the country is through remittance. People are working abroad and sending money into the country. And if the systems are not put in place to ensure that this process is it's fast and at least affordable for majority of the population, people will look for alternatives. And it will be better if they worked towards serving people. It's sad that I can imagine having to fight for a system that's serving you, but I think people would definitely go for the better option that will serve them. And right now, I see that Bitcoin can be able to do that, Lightning can be able to do that.
It's way better. Like even in the Western Hemisphere, let's say, like if you want to transfer small amounts of money or even big amounts of money, it's so much paperwork, it's so much legal things, there's so much fees going on. And as a settlement layer, Bitcoin, even the main chain, has lower fees than some of the, like if you want to send 20,000 euros across
Yeah,
country borders, it's
yeah.
better on the base chain of Bitcoin and
No
more
way.
efficient,
Even with the high
faster,
fees.
and just like even lower fees. And that's like why not use Bitcoin? Why not use Lightning? Why not use all the amazing systems that someone just put out and it is there? It will not go away. And this is a system that does not require any additional work. And all the banking system, they are clinking on their power, and they want to stay in power, and they want to have those fiat rails and just you, it's a sad thing, I think, for a lot of people, that like if someone wants to send money back home to their original country, and then there are the Western Unions of the world taking like a 20%, 10%, 30% cut of the whole thing for basically making an entry in a database. That's just not fair, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And at least for you have just the fee thing. Currently in Kenya, okay, in my lifetime, I've already seen two banks collapse, and with people's savings, and even besides that, with investments, we have people losing investment money, investing in things like circles, and right now even have the government coming for your savings in circles. They're like, now we want to tax your savings. So there's a lot of things that Bitcoin can solve for us. I
They are
think
taxing
negotiation.
they are taxing your savings, like you have savings in your bank, and they
And,
want a part of that, or what?
yes, and cooperative societies. If I'm not sure that you have that. That we have more cooperative societies where people save. For example, if you're in a company, you decide to save in a cooperative with the company, and that also wants to be taxed. So you imagine I have to work, get taxed, I go to save and it gets taxed. So we're living at a point where uh, life is getting really difficult for majority of the population, especially if you don't understand how the financial system works. You can end up living blaming the government day in, day out. But it is what it is. And a way out is all we're left with, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of people in like Austria and Western countries, I think they're really arrogant, and they don't think those bank collapses and those taxes and those getting attacking property rights are not coming to Austria, for example. I think there are a lot of arrogant people and saying like, no, it's a thing of other countries, and I'm like, no, this will come to every country. It's just a matter of time. Like we
Yes.
we might have a little advantage now, but this, if we're not taking Bitcoin seriously right now,
Mm.
someone else will, as we see with El Salvador, as we
Mhm.
see with other countries that are adopting Bitcoin faster than uh, Europe, especially
Yeah.
Europe, with so many regulations and so many challenges. They just want to ban themselves from Bitcoin, and they're not realizing that Bitcoin is the thing they have to embrace.
Yeah.
And is it also for in Africa and Kenya? How is the government seeing Bitcoin there?
Okay, so it varies in different African countries. So maybe I can start with like the extremes I've seen. Places like Uganda, the in terms of the regulation, the government still hasn't uplifted. Like there was a memo put out by the central bank that cryptocurrencies are a no, no, no. Bitcoin is a no. But for Kenya, I can say that they're open to it, but they're open to it in terms of taxation. So they've not legalized it as legal tender, but yeah, they're open to taxing it. Nigeria is impressive. Recently, we saw that they uplifted the. There was a ban that has recently been uplifted. So for Nigeria, but and it's good because I see that Nigeria being the largest economy in Africa, people tend to other countries tend to follow what it does. So that's a good step the central bank has made. So we're going to see more countries hopefully take it up in Africa. So I think the narrative is changing. Even though most leaders don't want to listen about it, they do know people use it. So I guess with time we'll just see it embracing it because, to be honest, it's not just serving the people; it's really beneficial even to governments in Africa. So yeah, in terms of regulation, I've seen more positive news of late. I'm hoping to just seeing it get more positive.
Yeah, it's you cannot ban or stop Bitcoin. Like you can't just stop yourself of getting more Bitcoin, and
Yeah,
this whole game theory will play out. It's already started. We're seeing now with the Bitcoin ETF. We are seeing it with El Salvador. We saw it with
yeah,
MicroStrategy. We
yeah.
saw it with so many adoption stories where there are successful people that adopted, and all the other people that did not do the decision and also thought about it, they're like, they did it and they're now really, really good off. They will look
Yeah,
at all the other people that did it and will do it eventually. We saw it. I think the best example is still MicroStrategy as the first publicly traded company that
yeah,
buys Bitcoin.
that
Now
buys
there are
Bitcoin.
like 80 publicly traded companies that have bought Bitcoin.
Wow.
So it it needs someone to stand up, and then there will be brave people behind them and follow.
Yeah.
And you know the meme where like all the people are like slaves in front of the government, and then there's like the next scene where Satoshi Nakamoto stood up, and
Hmm.
behind him more and more people stand up, and all of the
Yeah.
sudden it's like the
Yeah.
government bowing to the people. And
Mhm.
we are seeing a power shift, definitely.
There is
And
definitely a passion. I'm worried about the ETFs, though. I hope we can spread the message that it's better for people to hold Bitcoin instead of the ETFs, but we really
yes,
can't prevent that because right now we'll have yes, it's good. The institutional demand is coming in, but at what level are they coming in? So yeah, that will be interesting to watch. I guess there's a lot of uncertainty. No one really knows where this is heading. We'll just have to wait and see how it pans out.
yeah, this is a really important message to get out. Like the Bitcoin ETF itself, it's a complete bullshit product.
It
Like
is.
never buy the Bitcoin ETF.
It is.
But
People buy it.
yes, people buy it, but it just like for me, it's Wall Street giving up and recognizing Bitcoin. That's
Yeah.
what the Bitcoin ETF basically is. Like as we said before with the bowing, it's like
Mhm.
Bitcoin is here, and all of this on Wall Street is like, oh yes, shit, you're right. We also need that Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and I don't know what they're trying. Maybe they try a fork. Maybe they try some Federal Reserve thing with Bitcoin. Maybe they try some stupid stuff. But at the end of the day, if Bitcoin is actually, as we all think, sound money, it can handle the ETF. It can
It
handle so much more. And we just have to keep educating people and spread the message and self custody our Bitcoin. And that's why I also contacted you, because you're doing a lot of great work. You're like, I think, also translating Bitcoin education. Like
Yes,
you're really doing a great job.
thank you very much. Yes, I'm working with a company called Exonomia. The first thing we noticed the first thing, of course, you notice when you get into the Bitcoin space, especially in Africa, we have lots of people who do not speak in English. Um, for example, if I can just, I researched something on the stats of the languages that are spoken in Africa. Swahili has 200 million speakers. And in fact, for the rural areas, relating Bitcoin in terms of English can be quite the challenge. So there's a project called Exonomia, still with the same founder I work with, Don Machankura, and we are carrying out open source translation of a Bitcoin book. So, and currently I'm still working on another one. It will be a surprise. The next book that's coming out, I'm really excited about it. I've been looking forward to translating this book. So be on the lookout, Robin. But
Looking
yeah,
forward to it.
yeah, and it's the reception has been quite well. Especially, I've even had people tell me they are reading the books in Congo, and it's been amazing to see just how much impact we can be able to have if we can be able to get Bitcoin literature in other languages, especially African languages, for sure.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing you're doing to help spread the Bitcoin where it's most needed for the people that don't even know English. They cannot read all those great books from like Cypherdine, from all the great Bitcoin authors. That's really great work. What else are you doing in Bitcoin right now?
I also just do the podcasts, but I'm with Bitcoin Layer. I don't know whether you've
Mm.
seen a few of the videos, yeah. So I work with the team, Nick Batia of the Bitcoin Layer, Joe. So it's more of just education, and majorly I can say it's adoption through especially Machankura. If we I do most of onboardings, and right now that we have the Digits Africa in, also the buying. As you can see, Robin, there's a lot of work to be done in Africa in terms of Bitcoin. I encourage those who want to work on Bitcoin adoption spread in Africa. There's a lot of opportunities. I've just touched on the bare minimum. There's a lot of education going on. Bitcoin mining, if you're really a fan of it, there's a company called Gridless that is in Kenya, and also it's in Zambia, Malawi. They are carrying out Bitcoin mining using hydro microgrids, and they're doing it in the rural areas where people can't be able to afford power. So that's also a game changer in terms of distribution of electricity in the continent, especially since most parts of the continent don't have electricity.
I really appreciate what you're doing for Bitcoin and what you are doing for basically humanity. I think you already made a video also where I don't remember the name, the first African woman that got the Nobel Prize for Peace,
Yes,
where
Mariam.
you drew the connection with her and humanitarian and Bitcoin. Like maybe talk a little bit about that. What you learned from that video.
Okay, yes. I happened to attend, or rather, not even attend. If you look at a country like, let's say, Togo, I'll talk about this because if, I don't know if you've heard about. There's a lady called Farida Naburema. She's doing amazing work in terms of Bitcoin adoption there. She's a human rights activist, and there's a lot of human rights violation in Africa, in a lot of places, not just in terms of the economy. And yeah, I was just looking at the connection between human rights and how Bitcoin can be able to be able to solve the issues, especially of human rights activists. Some of them are exiled from their countries. She's an example, and right now, human rights activists can be able to receive money anywhere in the world without having to seek permission, without having to have their bank accounts closed, and we are going to see a lot of change in the world. If I give another example, um, Eritrea, for example, Ethiopia, there's also another wonderful lady working there, Meron Estefanos. For her, we have there's refugees trying to escape Eritrea, and they use the route that goes all the way trying to get into Europe. So, and some of them end up getting kidnapped and they require ransom. And right now, they can be able to receive ransom using Bitcoin. Sometimes you have to leave your country and you don't have any property. Right now, you can even have them live with the Bitcoin. So we're going to see a lot of changes, not just in terms of how Africa is run economically, but also in terms of the political front, especially human rights violations. I feel we can be able to get in touch because most of them, money is a key factor. Um, and Bitcoin is going to come in for a lot of these cases for sure.
Yeah, that's I think Alex Gladstein also makes a lot of work in that area, and it's
Yes,
fascinating to see all the Bitcoiners are helping humanity prosper. Like that's
yeah,
it's a great thing. We are having an end routine in the podcast. The next guest, a question without knowing what's the next, who's the next guest, and the question is an interesting one, and
okay.
and question that is impossible to answer. It's
Mhm.
what is your price prediction for 2024, like end of 2024 for
End of
Bitcoin?
2020. Oh, I'll go with the highest, 1 million dollars, because
Oh,
that's the
really? Wow.
prediction I've seen most people have. I don't really usually talk about the price. For me, especially, I was saying if you earn in Bitcoin, the price going up, it's not a very happy moment because you want to get more sats. But if the highest that I've seen, the prediction $1 million for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get it. Like I also don't like higher prices because I'm like
Yeah.
I'm young now.
Yes,
I'm
this is
earning
the
now,
time.
and I
Yeah,
want as much sats as I possibly can. And these
yeah,
higher prices are making it really, really difficult for me.
yeah.
So I don't like the high prices. I don't like that the ETF is coming now. I want the ETF to come in 2028,
I think
maybe.
Gary, the ICC, Gary, I think he shares the same sentiments. I feel he shares the same sentiments. He's also trying to stop this as much as he can, for sure.
Yes, he's. Uh, I don't know what his true intentions are because I think
Mhm.
he is really understanding what Bitcoin is.
Yes,
He has an MIT lecture that's publicly available on YouTube where you can just see and listen to him. And you know, this guy understands
he
Bitcoin
gets it.
on a
He gets
technical
it.
level. He has the capability to understand it on an economical level,
Yes.
on a financial level. So let's see how it pans out. Like, what do you thought yesterday? Did you saw that Bitcoin, like the Bitcoin spot ETF, was approved and died like 3 minutes later?
I woke up early because it happened while we were still asleep. So I wake up early in the morning and I'm seeing, wow, we shot all the way up to almost 48,000 and then it just went down. And of course, you have to check the internet. I think they're playing games now, and but it doesn't really matter. For hardcore Bitcoiners, we know the game here is stack sats and really just don't pay attention to whatever is going on and encourage adoption, get more people in before the institutions really get in with the big money.
That is the most important message. Like, whatever happens with the halving, with Bitcoin, spot ETF, with Gary, with an SSC account that gets hacked,
Yeah,
apparently.
It's fun.
Like no matter what happens, just stack, stay humble, keep your Bitcoin in self custody, and do the hard work of holding on to your Bitcoin as hard as you possibly can. And if
Definitely.
you're doing that, you will be fine.
You will be fine.
And if you additionally do that and also contribute to a better society, better humanity, I think you will be fine, and you will have a great life. So, Noelyne, thank you for being on. Before we end, where can people find you the best?
Okay, thank you so much for having me, Robin. Twitter is a very good platform, also about LinkedIn. And you mentioned the videos. I'm trying to reach the Gen Z. That's why I started with the videos. So Instagram and TikTok, all platforms at Noelyne Sumba. And yeah, thank you for having me as a guest. I really enjoyed the conversation.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.